A Trufflesome Murder. Copyright 2017 by Cliff Robison. All rights reserved. Chapter 1. Ben Cornwallis stepped out of the taxi and breathed the fresh sea air. A strong breeze was coming off the ocean, and the littoral scent permeated the island. He had missed that scent, but he hadn't realized it until this moment. It struck him as odd that a man born and raised in Boston's Back Bay, trained in the hotels of Chicago, and, for the last 3 years, resident in Dallas, that such a man could seem so at home on a small island near the mouth of the Columbia River. And yet, that was exactly how he felt, as if he had returned home. The driver stacked the two suitcases beside him, the smaller one on top of the larger. Ben turned toward him and reached for his wallet. 36 even, said the cabby. Ben had glanced at the meter, and it said 35 and change, but he supposed 36 was a good round estimate. He handed the driver 2 20s. No change, said Ben. The driver took the bills and disappeared, as Ben turned back towards the front doors of the inn at River Columbia. He unstacked his bags, pulled up the folding handles, and started to roll them towards the winding cement path towards the two tall decorative doors. A middle-aged man in a blue pullover sweater and tan shorts darted over to him, taking the handles from his hands. An oval name tag, adorned with the Inn at River Columbia crest, identified him as Micah. Welcome to the Inn at River Columbia, said Micah, and then he stopped in his tracks. Ben? In the flesh, said Ben. I'm here for G-Cot. Then he extended his right hand. Micah seized the hand and pumped it, grinning. Good to see you. I thought you were in, Arizona? He took the handles of the bags again and started walking towards the door, looking over his shoulder at Ben. Close enough, said Ben. Dallas. About the same climate. 2 seasons, summer and January. Must have been what? 3 years, said Ben. Is Steve still here? Yeah, mostly nights, though. You coming back? No, Orrin invited me out for GCOT. I'll be here for the week, then back to Dallas. He trailed along behind the valet, who was moving efficiently up the path, while giving the air of having all the time in the world to chat with Ben. Man, those were good times, said Micah. Good to see the old crew again, huh? He opened one of the tall wooden doors, pulling the ornate iron handle. The door swung easily on its hinges. Ben stepped through as Micah held the door, then pulled in the bags behind him. In the 3 steps to the front desk, he expertly spun the bags to stand side by side against a stone wall. Facing Ben, he offered his hand again. Ben, expecting this, slipped him a 5 with the handshake. Micah pulled it away from his palm, shaking his head. Hey, we're old friends, he said, handing the bill back to Ben. It might have been an overstatement, but they were, at least, former workmates. Great seeing you again. Gotta run. More cars. As Micah vanished, Ben turned his attention to the strawberry blonde with the smoldering eyes, who peered expectantly from behind the counter. Her skin was like cream, and her eyes were green. Her grin was slightly shy and yet professional. Will you be checking in? She asked. Do you have a reservation? Yes, he said, smiling back. Last name Cornwallis. I'm here as a guest of the hotel. The car radio announcer was very enthusiastic, bordering on manic. He announced for the 15th time that this week's big entertainment event would be the induction of the Inn at River Columbia's very own chef, Orrin Kaltwasser, into the great chefs of today. It was, to paraphrase the announcer, an honor above any other possible honor. Princes and presidents, or at least one of each, had dined at Kaltwasser's tables. He was, and the announcer gave the impression that he was understating the matter, easily the most fantastic chef of the era. Great chefs of today, the annual festival of fine wine and finer dining, an event of such prestige that only a true connoisseur could fully appreciate it, was none the less accessible to even the most pedestrian palate. or so one might infer. In fact, the announcer breathlessly hinted, the casual listener should call the inn at once to reserve a place. These events, the lunches, the suppers, and the prestigious Fungi on the Range event, often sold out the very same afternoon that they first became available. Detective Sergeant Franz Yorga punched at the radio off button with a slightly bulbous forefinger. When Mari had first suggested meeting at the event, it seemed like an auspicious way to rekindle an old flame. Fine food prepared by world-famous chefs in a hotel known for its incredible views of the shoreline and its breathtaking natural beauty. Could there be a better setting for starting anew? The drive up from Salinas had somewhat soured his ardor. U.S. Highway 101 had taken him past many interesting sights, such as the heart of Silicon Valley, the Golden Gate Bridge, and the great redwood forests of the North Coast. It had also led him along endless twisting miles of narrow two-lane roads featuring no scenery except an endless parade of trees, trailing ancient recreational vehicles with top speeds of 43 miles per hour. It had taken him almost 6 hours to reach the Oregon border, and another 6 to trace the coastline to the Columbia River. Now, on the edge of Astoria, all he could find on any local radio station was an endless recitation of the glory that awaited him at the inn at River Columbia. If the radio was to be believed, this was the only event worth mentioning this year, and certainly the only event worth attending. Yorga sighed, staring at the road ahead. There had been a time when he chose radio stations based on music he liked. Now he chose the least irritating radio station, regardless the musical style. The silence that now permeated the car seemed infinitely better than another chorus of Bad Moon on the Rise or some other moldy old